lot more professional. It'll keep your set flowing. It'll keep things interesting. You know, I'm talking about like switching in between songs and everything. Again, I'll give you the advice to know your songs. And in this context, I mean it differently. What I mean is like know their key. If you know what key they start and what key they end in, you can think of other songs that start and end in those keys and transition into each other really easily. Know their tempo and know what other songs will kind of like match that tempo. And also like think about how they end and how they start. Like, does this song have kind of an explosive intro? Does it have kind of a, you know, ambient intro that would fade in well from something else? How does it end? Does it have like a quick ending? Does it have a fade out? Things like that will help you think of like what you can transition to, and I'm going to give you some examples of that right now. The first one I'm going to show you basically has this kind of like, the final thing in the song is just this chord. It's a big A minor chord. And this next song that I would typically lead into kind of starts out in A minor. And it's kind of got like its own kind of free-form thing. So I know that when I get to the end of this part, the song, after all this is like the final few bars of it, after this part that basically falls apart, that final A minor chord comes in. And I've built in time on this Game Boy for it to just kind of ring out for a while. When I feel like it's rung out for enough, I'll go to the next one. Look at that, the next song is started. And this chord is still playing under this, but you can sort of start to transition into it like here. Now this game was playing, this one's not playing anymore. Did you see how that worked? Like that transition? That's a really effective way to do that when you're talking about transitioning in the same key. Now, next, I'm going to give you a quick example of transitioning at the same tempo. So, I have these two songs. One is called I Quit and one is called You're Fired. And they purposefully, I kind of did that on purpose. They sort of go together. They're in the same tempo, but they're in different keys. But that doesn't matter because the way that I Quit ends is so quick, and the way You're Fired starts is so quick that like if you have the tempo down and you like keep going, it's a very effective way to keep things interesting. So I'm gonna play like the last part of I Quit goes like this. Got this big build-up ending. That's the ending of that song, and this is how You're Fired starts. So it actually starts on beat 3, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys get that? So I'm gonna do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? So if you're playing the end of I Quit, and you know like this final chain is gonna be 4 measures essentially. When you get to the third beat of the final measure, you can hit start on the next song, and it's gonna be a really effective transition. So here's what it's gonna sound like, and I'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, whoops, sorry. Did you see what I did there, everybody? Should I do it again, or are we? One more time. I'll count the whole thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, start. It's just a way to keep your set moving and to keep things interesting. And it's I happen to think that it just makes you look much like when you're well, cooler. I mean, professional and like you have command of the stage. Like when you're on stage, you want to look like you know what you're doing, and the audience responds well to that. So there's a whole bunch of other things you can do with like sort of changing the tempo and key on the fly in LSDJ that I don't really have time to show you, but those are the main ways that I do transitions. So finally, I have how much time do I have? Anybody? Am I on all right? Good? Doing all right? 10 more minutes-ish? Okay, we're good.
35 minutes.
What's that? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll keep it going.
You're at 35.
What's that?
You're at 35.
35, damn, okay. Basically, what I'm going to do now is kind of show you how you can sort of expand on the idea of playing with the Game Boy Live. I don't do any of this stuff yet, I'll be honest. This isn't stuff you would typically see me do live, but it's a way to make your sound bigger, it's a way to do more like live stuff, and I think it's pretty cool. And I want to start incorporating some of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is like, I just want to say real quick, everything I'm going to do during this part involves these link ports. You guys might remember on your Game Boy, you could play your friend in Tetris or whatever, 2-player mode, and the Game Boys would talk to each other. A bunch of people, a lot smarter than I am, have made it possible to use the link port with LSDJ, which is awesome. So effectively, if you're syncing, first thing I'm going to do is hook up the two Game Boys using a link cable, because you generally have to do this while they're off. Give me a second here.
Unless you're crazy.
Unless you're crazy.
I quit.
Fire the crazy.
Totally.
Oh crap, they already quit.
So. Joey likes to heckle the presenters all the time.
It's so interactive. I'm just gonna load up some tracks that I have that are kind of like synced.
He's safe behind his soundboard, so he thinks no one's gonna get him.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. So basically, what I've done here is I've made these two tracks that sync up when you play them together. It was a really quick thing that I did for this demo. It's a loop that just plays for over and over again, so you're gonna get annoyed with it quickly. But this Game Boy is going to be the tempo master, and this Game Boy is going to be the tempo slave. And effectively what I'm giving myself is 8 channels of audio instead of just 4. And if you have 8, think about what you can do with 8. You don't have to sneak everything in there. You can make bigger chords that aren't just arps. You can, make bigger drum sounds and stuff. And that's what I tried to do in this stupid little techno sidechain thing that I came up with. So this is going to be the master, and this is what it sounds like by itself. Not too much going on there. This one is going to be the slave. But before I do that, I'm just going to let you hear what it sounds like. Kind of boring on its own. I'm going to set this one as slave and push start on it. Now, it is playing right now. It says wait on screen. You guys can't really see it. But as soon as I hit start on this one, they're both going to start playing. Ready? So, trust me, they're both playing. This is the one, and this is the other. Right? So that sidechain chord thing is a little bit larger. The drum sounds are a little bit larger. There's just a lot more going on. And I'll prove to you that they're synced by changing the tempo on the master. And they both change. Now they're both super slow. Now they're both super fast. So that's pretty neat. You now have 8 channels of sound. And also I stopped one and they both stopped. Pretty cool, right? That's one thing you can do with the link port. The next thing I'm going to show you with the link port is actually even cooler, believe it or not. What I'm going to do is use this thing. It's called an Arduino boy. Basically, it gives you a connection between a Game Boy language and a MIDI language, and it translates. There have been presentations about Arduino. I'm not going to get too much into it. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about it. I did not build this. If you want them, the easiest way to get them is probably to find the schematic online and get the parts and build it. But I'm not really that cool. I just bought this one. And if you really want to buy one, they come up on eBay. Check the message boards. People are selling them. Someone was selling one for like 2 weeks ago or something. Very effective thing to do. What I'm going to do first is, have you guys ever seen anybody play LSDJ with like a computer keyboard? It's in Reformat the Planet. There's a part where like No Sleep has a keyboard strapped on and he's like hitting notes on it. He's actually playing notes. It's not just for show. One of my friends was once like, he's just goofing around, right? He's actually playing real notes, which is cool. Somebody figured out a way to wire a computer keyboard to a link port so it could communicate with LSDJ, which is great. I was going to show that because I do have one, but I figured it was even cooler to play LSDJ with a real keyboard, so I'm going to show you how to do that. What I've got going on here is this keyboard really could be any keyboard with MIDI out. I've got a MIDI cable running from the MIDI out of this to the MIDI in of this. Oh, and I gotta plug it into the Game Boy. Done with this link cable.
It's all good.
Done with that link cable. I'm gonna plug the Arduino boy. Yeah, so it's got 2 MIDI ports in and out, and it has like a link cable just hanging out of it. I'm gonna plug the link cable into the link port of this Game Boy, and I'm gonna set this Game Boy to keyboard mode. Now the thing about using a keyboard with the Game Boy is you have to have, an LSDJ at least, you have to have the sequencer running. So what I've done here is I've created just completely empty patterns. So I'm going to push start here, and it's playing, but you can't hear anything. But once I start hitting notes on here, you'll start hearing them coming out of the Game Boy. Go up an octave here. Right? Everything is coming from here, but it's being controlled by this. And it's really cool because you can actually use the octave buttons of this keyboard to change the octave. Up an octave. Up another one. Pretty neat. And you can also change the instruments. If you've created a bunch of instruments in your song in LSDJ, you can change them by switching patches on your keyboard. So that was that one. I'll change to this one. Here's up an octave again. Here, hold on. It's a wave instrument. Here's another wave instrument. And you can do all kinds of stuff just controlling it from the keyboard. But so you might have, I'm going to go back and play this silly side chaining song again. Forgot to change the tempo.
It's too fast.
It is way too fast.
Slow down, Dad.
So you could kind of have that one playing, and you could kind of That's the idea. Like you're just accompanying it with another keyboard, but the sounds are coming out of another Game Boy, so the sound kind of fits in with it. Just an idea. The final thing I'm going to show you before I hopefully have some time to let you guys do some stuff. I'm actually going to sync LSDJ with another MIDI device. So basically, you have a question?
Yeah, when
Yes.
you're using the Arduino board,
Yes.
is it still monophonic, or can you get more than one note?
I think there's a way to do both pulse channels to get two notes at once. Haven't figured that part out yet. Need to do a little bit more research on that, but I think there's a way to do that. Not sure yet. But other than that, yeah, it's like you're really only hitting one note at a time. So I'm going to show you how you can kind of use MIDI to sync a Game Boy with you could sync with any MIDI device, a drum machine that had MIDI. You could sync with, if you had like a MIDI NES, you could sync with a Nintendo using this. You could sync with a Commodore if you had, I think Messiah has MIDI capabilities. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to unplug this from the keyboard. I'm going to switch it up so now the Game Boy, in this example, I'm going to sync it with Reason, and I'm going to have the Game Boy be the master, and I'm going to have Reason be the slave. So I'm going to plug it into the in of my audio interface here. Once I figure out how. There we go. And I'm going to load up a song here. Where'd it go? Where'd that song go? Oh, here it is.
Shrimps did it.
Shrimps. What?
Shrimps Castillo.
Shrimps Castillo. I'm going to load up a song here that I've done part of in Reason also. And I'm going to, turn it on. Hold on. Load up the song. I'm going to set this. You have to set the mode of this to make sure that it's the right one. I'm going to set this to MIDI clock out. I'm going to make sure that I have this selected to be the sync master, which I now do. And I'm going to go to my song in Reason. And when I push start on the Game Boy, the song in Reason, hopefully, I've practiced this so many times, wouldn't it not work during the actual presentation? I'm going to go to the song in Reason, and they should both start playing at the same time. Pray with me. Yes. So, check it out. Reason is playing. So, this is just a Game Boy. And this is just Reason. How did it get in a different key?
It's a kind of team.
Well,
Tempo sync.
how did that happen?
Freeform jazz.
Reason, man.
Yeah, it is Reason. I mean,
Plays long.
that did not happen. What the hell?
Perfect, Joey.
It didn't happen in the while I was practicing.
Shrimps did it.
And now it's doing something. Well, whatever. Trust me, it worked. You guys heard it for a second. It was playing it at the same time. But basically with that, you can really expand your sound palette. And if I had changed the tempo of the Game Boy, it would have changed it in Reason also. But for a second, they were both playing, and I thought it was awesome. Sorry about the Reason being random. That's basically it. Those are just a few ideas, to like make your live set. Things you can do with LSDJ, things you can add to it, things you can do to your set to keep things interesting. There's so much more. I wish there was so much more I wanted to show, but I think rather than waste any more time, I'm going to give you guys a chance to mess around with live mode. What I've done in this track is all of these chains have 4 phrases in them, and they're all loopable, and they're all going to loop because they all have empty licks in between them. And what I've done here, this isn't how I typically write songs, but what I have here is all the pulse 1 patterns are kick drum patterns. Sounds like my audio interface is being wacky. This happens sometimes. Yeah, this happens. Damn it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to disable. Yeah, I'm just gonna disable that audio thing. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, guys.
Look at Seattle.
Yeah. Do we have any questions while I'm doing this?
Yeah, I have a
Anybody?
question.
Go for it.
So for when you're actually syncing Game Boys with the link cable,
Yes.
you demonstrated how you can use that to basically make one song between the two. But could you also use that as sort of a kind of a mashup tool, like a DJ would?
Between the 2 Game Boys, you said?
Yeah, like they just kind of switch because you have a mixer. So couldn't you literally?
Yeah,
match the beat
absolutely.
and then just kind of crossfade the songs in and out as you would want.
Absolutely, and like what I was saying before about tempo syncing, you could transition between songs much easier by doing that. Yeah, the way I do it is kind of like on the fly, and it's not really like necessary to do it that way, but you could do that with 2 Game Boys as long as they're both hooked up to the PA. Like you can switch between one or the other.
Yeah, because I
pretty
just
easily.
saw you switching and it made me think of that. I don't really see many people doing that.
Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. Because like Note does stuff like that, and I don't think he just has one big file. I think he might.
have to.
You
You
do?
don't have to, really. Yeah, you don't have to.
I don't think so. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Give me 1 more second here. So. Just opening this back up again.
You could do it hard with.
What will we learn tomorrow?
Alright, so what I've got going on here is, like I said, these are all kick drum patterns. These are all just kind of like melodic things. Or like chords or something. Those are like melodic leads. These are all bass lines on the wave channel. And these are all percussion patterns on the noise channel. This is all going to be the same tempo. They're all in the same key, and like you just can't. Basically, you can do no wrong by selecting anything in this entire file. So all you, as anybody who wants to interact with this, has to do is move to a number and push start. Does anybody want to do that? Nobody wants to do that. Somebody, yes, absolutely, go for it.
Have more practice live mode.
There you go. So literally anything you want to do here, just kind of like hit start.
All right. However you want to do it. This is your remix. Awesome. Start. Let's see.
But go on to a number.
Right. Hold on. Where's start?
Oh, start is 10. Sorry.
Okay.
You can go underneath the number and put them on top of it.
So start with a number first.
Yes.
All right. Just to.
else wants to try it, just come on up, let me know. I'm going to start packing some of this other stuff up. But go. Thank you. And if you have any questions, let me know. I don't think I really have time right now, but just let me know.